So very often we want to get rid of the feelings, the sensations, the emotions, the thoughts. And you want to, maybe secretly, we want to actually get rid of them. And therein lies the issue with resistance, because resistance exaggerates, resistance magnifies. So the nature of this short invitation is to feel without interpretation. What does that mean, and what does that look like? Well, since everything is energy, and since everything is pretty much in flow all the time, and since we're feeling creatures in so many ways, we have this relationship as the individuations we are, as manifestations of in form, and we have these senses. We sense things, we feel things, we taste things, we hear things, but we feel things. And if we feel things, then we feel things. This is a fact in so many ways. But those feelings get attached to emotions, and when there's any sense of sensitivity, and actually there is, most people think it's only them that's really sensitive. But actually, as soon as you start looking at yourself or getting on the spiritual path or the transformational path, you realize that everybody else on the path is also sensitive in their own ways. And even the people who, are not on the path, but are stuck, maybe locked in the unconscious habitual state, they are probably extremely sensitive, but have just pushed their sensitivity somewhere deep inside or far away. But this sensitivity and this feeling, this sense of feeling, has it in all honesty, it's unstoppable. And there may be a secret hope, thought that some awakening, some realization, some self-realization will somehow either put an end to that feeling, to that discomfort, if it is discomfort. Or maybe just, it's as simple as, I'll be able to handle it more when I, if awakening were to happen. Maybe. I don't know. What I'm saying is, often it's not just the movement of energy within, or the feelings and sensations as they're flowing through us and rising to the surface. It's actually that the mind has a tendency, not even a tendency, a habit, a fixation, a need to grab a hold of those feelings and interpret them in some way. So when we feel a kind of discomfort in some sort of way, we're going to take that discomfort and cast it upon the world, cast it, project it into our lives. I like this, I don't like that, I like this, I don't like that. And that is a function of the mind, of course. But, what it ends up meaning is that when things rise up within us, we almost automatically don't just let them be there. We feel the need to do something about them. Whether that's a justified thought of resistance, or a justified feeling, or an unjustified feeling of anger or projection, or judgment is a big one. Because judgment seems to save us in some way. When we judge things as that shouldn't be happening, then that relieves us of something. It seems to, or appears to, relieve us of some of our I don't know what it is, you know, I'm tempted to say weakness, or it relieves us of, you know, this feeling the need to do something. And so we judge, and there it is. We've got a moment, a brief moment of peace or validation or something like that. This is really subtle, but, you know, I see it happening. I see it happening. And it actually doesn't work because it's so temporary that the discomfort just arises again, and the feeling arises again, and the sensation arises again. And so then we're caught in the loop of having to move away from it or act upon it. And act upon it isn't doing something. Acting upon it is almost just thinking in an action-based way, judging, dismissing, overruling, overriding, interpreting one way or another, interpretation of feeling. And actually, what I've noticed, and I've noticed this in my experience because I'm a very sensitive person, and despite all of this journey, I still feel things incredibly. I feel waves of energy, and we've been living in very intense, energetic times, all of us. The waves of energy come through, and I've learned to not take them personally. Excuse me. To not interpret them in a way that says, you know, and it means this about my life. It means this about me, or it means this about the world, or it means anything about anything. To actually be deeply equanimous with it. Just waves within, rising and falling. And in that way, you become intimate with the waves of energy rising and falling. Actually, in many ways, this becomes like Buddha under the Bodhi tree, because it's the same waves of energy, desire and aversion, dark thought, light thought, negative feeling, positive feeling, are all rising up. And it is the same with some of this energy that we feel that it means something. When this sensation of, you know, of energy, shaky energy rises up, we want to call it anxiety. And when we call it anxiety, we've immediately named it as something, you know, that is unwelcome, that we don't want. And as soon as you name it as something that you don't want, that is negative, but it's risen up within you, then you've made an enemy of it. Whatever we make an enemy of within ourselves will persist. The enemy persists within. It keeps going because it's trying to get to peace. And the only way to get to peace is for us to embrace it and allow it with a love that is equanimous. And so, you know, when these waves come up, it's not even a question of just the statement of being with them. It's not being with them. There's no them and you separate. It's like what I've been saying for ages and ages. You are the ocean in which the wave appears. You are the wave and you are the ocean. There is no separation. But the interpretation of the wave as it rises up, names it as something very specific and says that I'm not comfortable with that wave being here. That's a frightening wave, that's a bad wave, that's a wave I don't want. I wonder what I can do with it. Well, I'm going to judge it harshly. Say, I don't want you here. Or the wave comes up and it's got a heat in it or something. It's got a sensation, it's got a feeling in it. And that comes up and it might rise up into a heat. The heat that rises up and projects itself outwards. You know, that really shouldn't be happening there. I don't like that person. I don't like this one. I don't want this. Kind of angry judgment All of this rooted in the fear of our totality, the fear of our wholeness. Because in wholeness, you know, it's incumbent upon us to love whatever arises, as I've said millions of times before. So to love whatever arises means to love whatever arises and don't give it a name. Don't always give everything a name. It doesn't work. It doesn't lead to love, and it doesn't lead to the wholesomeness that is being sought, because the feelings never go away. They get easier because they melt as we melt. The poet does not flinch or pull back from the darkness, for they know the light is there.